Welcome to Niners Talk with John, Tim, and Brian. Let's talk Niners.
And Kittle's wide open and down to the 45.
Sure, Fisher, let me ask you something. Hey, Coach, go ahead. How can 6 of you miss a play like that, huh?
Hello. Welcome to Niners Talk. It's Victory Tuesday once again, boys.
Yes. 2-0.
How are we feeling?
Well, we're 2-0. How should we be feeling? I think we're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
I'm feeling pretty
Brian,
good.
how are you feeling?
We are 2-0, so we'll take it at that. So yeah, happy to be there rather than being 1-1 or 0-2.
Definitely.
For those of you who don't know or might be tuning in for the first time, we're three obsessed Niners fan. My name is John. I'm joined by my brother Tim and my brother from another brother, mother, something, Brian.
I want to see that genealogy tree.
Yes, so we all. But yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. It was a close game, a little closer than the Steelers game. But Tim, overall, just kind of your thoughts on the Rams game.
Well, I think on our last podcast, I think all of us were suspecting that the Rams team the Niners faced in 2022, this Rams team was going to be much improved, and those suspicions were confirmed. And I thought the Rams had a really good game plan. They were attacking the 49ers defense with very quick throws, quick 5-step drops. Stafford was getting the ball out very quickly. The Niners were generating no pass rush in that first half, and that was a concern. But credit the Niners, they made some key defensive adjustments. They started bringing more pressure and blitzes in the second half. You had 2 key turnovers that the 49ers were able to produce that ultimately led to their 30-23 victory. And now it's a short week onto the Giants on Thursday night. But yeah, I think all of us, as we were chatting before the podcast, I think we all think this Rams team is a definite playoff contender.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're much improved, as you said, and I think they're going to be this year's Seattle Seahawks. Ryan, what were you thinking about the game?
I was probably, watching it was a little frustrating in the first half. Yeah, right. They weren't getting any pressure on Stafford, and the receiver, was it Puka Nacua? He was like all world on that game. Yeah, their rookie, he lit us up. Yeah, the Rams were just attacking, our zone coverage and it as you called it, Tim, making those really quick throws right after the snap, and then they got this guy Nacua.
And I gotta say, I think this is probably more Sean McVay's game plan, but tell me that this guy, this rookie Nacua, wasn't a carbon copy of Cooper Kupp. You might as well have had Cooper Kupp out there. He's now set the all-time record for rookie receptions in his first 2 games. They were lining him up in the slot. These are the places where Cooper Kupp normally lines up in. And I mean, obviously the guy is talented. He can get open. He can make plays, but McVay just knows exactly how to use them, and they will get Cooper Kupp back. And they're going to be formidable. Stafford, again, those quick throws. And the 49ers, I think they truly believe that they were at some point going to get pressure on Stafford with their front 4, but the Rams offensive line was doing a great job. I was watching the game yesterday on a replay, and I was trying to count the number of blitzes in the first half, and I could see only 1, maybe 2. So they really had the Niners going into the first half, going at the end of the first half. We're just like, okay, we have to get more pressure on Stafford. We're going to have to take some risks.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Niners I thought their effort against Pittsburgh was about an A minus. I thought their overall grade for the Rams is about a B. They played a solid game. There's just a little bit of stuff in there that they were really getting in the first half, especially, Stafford was able to operate. But they made some adjustments into halftime. for the defense and
Yeah.
really held and then scored some more. But let's go over our keys to victory, which we had last week. And the first one, which was one of mine, was we had to put Stafford on the ground. And in the first half,
No.
we didn't do that.
Not
And
at
that's
all.
why that game was tied. It was better. How many sacks did the Niners actually end up having?
They had one. It was the Fred Warner sack, and I think close to the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, and then pressures.
Pressures, I want to say, you know what? I don't have the numbers on that. I know that they were bringing a little bit more heat, as I said earlier, but I don't have the numbers on that one. But with that, that fifth man coming in, we started to see, we had seen the Stafford that we had seen before, where he was getting uncomfortable. The throws were coming out a little quicker than he wanted to. He was getting pushed around a bit, and we know he doesn't like that.
Yeah. Brian, what did you also see like in our keys to victory that we either did or did not do?
Well, I put in the keys to victory. I think we talked last week about Debo. So he definitely stood out.
Yeah.
He did some things as a receiver, which obviously we love to see. But he also had that really awesome run touchdown, that rushing touchdown. He was definitely played much better, or at least they were targeting him more.
He was definitely
Yeah.
part of the game plan where he wasn't so much in the Steelers, and always like when Chris Berman on primetime goes, Debo, whoa, Debo,
Sing that one more time. I like that rather than your comment.
Debo, whoa, Debo.
Our next podcast, John Acapella.
No, it won't happen. So Tim, other keys of victory that the Niners did or
Yeah.
did not do.
Yeah, we talked about don't underestimate the Rams. We saw their performance in week 1 against the Seahawks. That defense just shut down Geno Smith in the second half. But their offense, as we said as well, the offense against the Seahawks, the Ram offense against the Seahawks, they were firing all cylinders. And that game, honestly, should have been a lot more of a blowout than it turned out to be because the Rams were shooting themselves in the foot. I will say this, adversity is part of football. We all know that. We all know that the 49ers are going to be in tough games. But that's why I think as many in the media have looked at the 49ers and have taken the phrase complementary football. If your D is not producing the pressure you thought, well, your offense has to step up. Against Pittsburgh, I mean, the defense absolutely shut Pittsburgh down in the first half, every 3 and out. Against the Rams, the offense has to consistently score. They did that. They put up 30 points against the Rams. That alone should get you a victory against just about any NFL team.
Yeah, I didn't see any letdown. I thought the Niners came out firing. I thought they looked. There wasn't like kind of a lull.
Yeah.
When you see a team that doesn't really come out. Brian, any other keys to victory that we
I
nailed
was
or
listening to
missed?
Matt Mayogo on his Niners podcast, and he was thinking that this game, he could see it as potentially it being a loss for the Niners. And I didn't think about that until after he said it, because this could have been a letdown game. They had the huge game in Pittsburgh where they just destroyed him on both sides of the ball. And he kind of thought maybe if they came in here, he wouldn't be surprised if they got a loss. I was kind of, after I listened to that post game, I was thinking, oh man, that's right. That could have happened here. But I just think,
Easy.
overall, they played with a lot of intensity, especially, I know it got slid in here in terms of our notes here, but I really loved that they went for it at the, at the first half, when they easily could have kicked a field goal. And they were obviously playing the possession game in the second half. But I would have, as any coach, I probably would have kicked the field goal. But
let's talk about that a little more. I mean, let's consider the situation. You're down on the 1 yard line. I don't remember what the down and distance was, but there was 1 second left. And then the previous play, Purdy had tried to hit McCaffrey right in the corner of the end zone, and McCaffrey was blanketed, so he threw it away. And like you, Brian, I'm sitting there going, all right, let's get the 3 points and let's go in and take the momentum. And then out comes the offense stays on. My first thought is, I don't know about this, Kyle. I don't know if this is such a good idea. Now, obviously, my opinion changed after they scored, but John, you and I were talking about this. I mean, when you think about, why wouldn't you go for it? You've got Purdy. You've got two great offensive linemen in Banks and Trent Williams. He ran right behind Banks to get to get that critical touchdown that tied the game. So, John, what were your thoughts? What was going through your head at that time?
Basically, I don't know about this. Okay, we scored. Woo, good job, Kyle. Good job.
I would have done exactly the same thing. Never a doubt in my mind.
I would have kicked. I would have kicked without a heartbeat.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why we're not head coaches.
I
in the
do have
NFL.
to ask you guys.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why we do a podcast. Go, I'm
That's why
sorry,
we're-
John.
That's why we're sports pundits.
Right.
If you were the Niners, and this is kind of like back in the day when the Niners weren't so good, but if you're a Rams fan, how deflating must it be to go to the SoFi game and be like, we're the visiting team?
Yeah.
It was the key to the victories we had was Niners South is going to show up, and
they
did.
And Brian, you've been to SoFi, I think, a couple
just
of
once
times,
for the NFC Championship game, but
or just
it-
once. Okay.
I mean, it
okay.
it was probably 2/3 Niners fans, I'm going to guess, just looking at the crowd. So it definitely it feels like it felt like a home game. Like when I went there at NFC Championship game, it definitely felt like we just happened to be playing not at Levi's, but it's a Niners game. Yeah.
I will say this. I mean, every time I look at that stadium, it just is a place. I think they could not have done. I think it's one of the best looking, if not the best looking stadiums in the NFL. It is just absolutely beautiful. But as to the fans, I heard Todd Christensen say this one time when the Raiders were playing in LA about marketing a sports team in LA, is that LA is not a great sports town. LA is a great entertainment town. And that's what teams like the Lakers and I think the Dodgers always understood. But for the Rams, I mean, it is deflating. I mean, John, as you said, the number of Niners fans, and this is a team that 2 years ago won the Super Bowl. And it's 85% Niners fans coming into that stadium. That's a little deflating.
Some of the stuff on Instagram, it was just crazy. So one that we talked about a little bit, but was a key to victory that they didn't get was Bosa still has a goose egg for sacks. I haven't run a mile yet for old Nick. This time last year, I think it was already at 3. So I don't know if we're going to be going to kilometers pretty soon or at all. And I'm up for the Pepsi challenge, Nick, if you're listening. But what are we thinking about Mr. Bosa? I mean, that was the one thing I think the Niners just didn't do a great job of, especially the first half, was getting to the quarterback.
Yeah.
But Bosa, you think it's just rust?
I think it is.
Possibly. He's remarked in the media that, he does need to get into football shape. He was signed, a few days before the Steelers. And, I think it does take some amount of adjustment to get it back out there and have a few weeks of not only practice, but games. So it's not like Madden where you can just say, oh, put this guy in and he, sacks the quarterback 10 times. I was actually just looking it up. He has had about 5 pressures so far, according to David Lombardi of The Athletic. So he is getting upfield. But I also think you have to say, with last week against Pittsburgh, Drake Jackson had a game, of his career. He had 3 sacks. So they may have been double teaming Bosa and leaving Jackson one-on-one with some opportunities. And in the Rams case, yeah, John, as you said, not only, he did have some pressures, but it took the Niners blitzing to really get after Stafford. And so we'll have to see what he does in the next couple of games with the, Giants on Thursday and then Arizona after that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we'll find out. But let's get to stars of the game, because
actually there's one. Oh, no, yeah, I'm sorry, I said something. I was skipping ahead, and I apologize to our listeners and to my colleagues for that.
Don't do that. Anyway, I control the microphone.
You control the microphone, I'll be good.
So the Stars of the game. Brian, why don't you start? Who was your star of the game?
I did say Debo Samuel, so I'm going to stick with him. After a slow week one, he definitely played much better, and I felt like the Niners really went to their strengths. I know they were going deep with with CMC, Christian McCaffrey. He had a lot of runs, so they tried to mix it up a little bit with Debo and some of his runs, like putting him in there. So I just think he showed up and he showed out. So I am just impressed with the way he got things done in that game.
Yeah.
Debo. Whoa, Debo. Tim, who's your star of the game?
I'm going to go with the coaching
Yeah.
staff, particularly Kyle Shanahan to start with. We had talked about his call to go for it with
Yep.
1 second left, which tied the game, which was a huge momentum boost to the Niners. But I thought previous to that, the Rams had scored a touchdown. Kyle Shanahan on the Rams drive, he called the last two of the 49ers timeouts, and he ended up giving his offense, I want to say about a minute 40 to work with, which, as it turns out, they needed literally every second of that. And I thought that was terrific clock management because Sean McVay was going to run that clock down as much as he possibly could. So kudos to Kyle, not only for calling those timeouts, but with the call to try to tie it at the end of the game. Also, to the defensive coordinator, the adjustments in the second half, you started seeing Fred Warner come in on blitzes. We saw Charvarius Ward, although he had at one point Stafford dead to rights and missed, but I'm putting that on Ward. I'm not putting that on the coaching staff, but he started bringing pressures. We started seeing Stafford getting a little bit more uncomfortable, and 2 turnovers in the second half, I think you can attribute to those defensive adjustments. So those are my
And
two.
Tim, you were talking about that the coaching staff, like the last minute 45 when the Niners had their 2 minute drill. I think that was Brock Purdy's first time ever doing a 2-minute drill with the Niners. So he did. That's one thing that impressed me.
It could very well be. It's a great point.
Well, my star of the game is going to go to Isaiah
Yes.
Oliver. Obviously he was having some issues in the preseason. It wasn't really the starting nickelback, but when you get an opportunity, man, make the most of it. And I thought he did. He had 3 absolutely key plays. He had a huge stop, open field tackle, which he whiffed on a lot in the preseason.
He did.
Where basically held the Rams to a 4th down. He had the interception, although, right place, right time, because the Rams guy should have caught that ball.
Kyron Williams.
But then he had that huge stop up in the hole with the Rams running back. So I just, he's been in the doghouse. Everybody's giving him the shrug, like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, we signed him and he showed up.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna be the starting quarterback because Ambry Thomas has got a little knee issue. And hey, go out there and do it, especially if you're going to play that much nickel. I think they play like 85% of their snaps in nickel, which makes sense when you're going against Stafford.
Yeah.
Brian, you got another star of the game?
This is Tim's favorite because I know he loves field goals. Our buddy Jake Moody.
Hey,
do you
love
think
field goals, especially
do you
57
do you
yarders.
think they would ever trot out Robbie Gould for a 57-yarder? Probably not, right? Yes. Well, I guess to end the game.
I think he would. I think they would. Yeah.
I'm going with Brian. I don't think they would have tried
Unless it was
Robbie
like a
for
game-ending situation.
field
It was like
goal.
1 second left. But I don't know.
My gut says yes. So but we're all friends here. We're free to disagree and not hold it personally.
He's not
against
David
each other.
Akers, and I know he made like a 60-something yarder.
Yeah.
But Jake Moody made that 57-yard field goal. He had 2 other ones, I think, in the 20s. And then he had 3 PATs.
Yeah.
So, I think he's finally found his rhythm. He's nice and calm. He understands the game, and he did. I'm just impressed with the way he hasn't missed yet since the season started. So, knock on wood, this keeps on good.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Let's not talk streaks.
Yeah.
I got to give a star of the game to the big uglies up front.
Yep.
Because last week we had talked Colt McKivitz and a little bit of Spencer Burber, but we're like, Colton. And of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
everybody in the Twitter sphere and the pundit
Right.
universe is like, well, we have all this cap space. Let's get a right tackle.
Yeah.
Colton did a great job. And I saw Aaron Donald line up over Colton a lot during that game.
Well,
And I think Aaron Donald had one tackle.
he had one tackle, but what I was about to ask you, John, is when during the game did you hear Aaron Donald's name mentioned?
I
You
just
just
remember,
telling stories about
yeah,
it.
I just remember
Exactly.
seeing him on the
Exactly.
sidelines, like they were showing
So
his face. But you also didn't hear much about
yeah.
Colton.
So
You
I
didn't hear
mean,
much
yeah.
about
So
Colton
kudos.
McKivitz
Yeah.
either. So that's a good thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And then the last star of the game, I think, goes to Brock Purdy. And this, I'll be honest, I was a little surprised by some of the beat writers. Kawakami comes to mind. That were all like, "Oh, he didn't have a
Your
very good
friend.
game." I'm like, "Oh, what an asshole!" And maybe he doesn't listen to us, and we don't listen to him. So not a boo boo. But I thought I thought Brock had a pretty good game where he missed 4 throws.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of these guys seem to be like, the sky is falling. He missed these 4 throws. What are we going to do now? I'm like, he still put up 30 points.
Yeah.
He did. I mean, you look at his stats. He was 17 of 25 for 206 yards. He had the touchdown to Debo. He didn't have any interceptions. Yes, he missed on 4 throws. He missed one to Jennings. He missed one,
Yeah.
obviously, to Debo. He missed Ayuk. Although I thought the one to Ayuk, I thought that was going to be a tough. I thought the corner had a great angle on Ayuk, and I'm not sure that if Ayuk catches that ball, that guy doesn't knock it out. Again, when I was watching the replay. But look, we've also seen Brock Purdy last year, particularly I remember a game against the playing the Buccaneers where he was throwing the ball up and down, right and left. So we know he can hit these guys. I think it's more of, he still has only played a small number of games in comparison to his peers. So I think it's more he and his receivers being on the same page. But I think these are correctable mistakes. And, certainly as if the 49ers biggest problem is the quarterback missed 4 throws and the 49ers still put up 30 points. Okay, that's a problem I want to have.
So Tim, where do you think the Niners could improve? I mean, it wasn't a perfect game by any means, but where are we looking at for some improvement?
I mean, at this one, I think you have to really kind of nitpick a little bit. I think for me, the one I'd start with was there were some sloppy penalties at the end of the game. 3, in fact, one on a fair catch interference. Jennings was flagged for a crackback, and I think Warner was flagged for either for holding or a face mask. And you would look on the camera would go to Kyle Shanahan, and he would have this exasperated look on his face, like, really, guys? And I think every 49er fan probably is blood pressure starts going up because they're like, can we close out the game? Don't make this like the Dallas game, wild card game from a couple of years ago, where you did everything in your power to make sure the Cowboys had a chance. So, it's that. I would say that, it became a foregone conclusion when the Rams were driving and the time was running out that, the Niners were going to win. But those are some areas that I had to look at.
I think for me, it's the closing of the game. This has been a consistent theme with the Niners in the Kyle Shanahan era. It's just closing it out and not doing anything that's done. When we were watching the game with my daughter was there, and it was the last 2 minutes, and we're getting ready for dinner, and she's like, "Why is this taking so long?" I'm like, because they keep doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. So yeah, that's my big thing is they got to clean up these dumb penalties, and they got to clean up the closing of the game.
Yeah.
Obviously in the Pittsburgh game, it wasn't an issue, but this one,
Right.
had left, there was still enough time for them to pull off a miracle, but they just they just keep shooting themselves in the foot a little bit.
Yeah.
And at some point, you just don't want that, like in the Super Bowl, to just all of a sudden rear its head
No,
again.
no. And
Anything else?
well, no, I was gonna continue with that thought because it has been as you said, it's been a consistent theme with the 49ers over the past few seasons. And, I just mentioned the wild card game a couple of years ago when they played at Dallas where, the 49ers had every reason just to close out the game, but, Dallas gets the ball back. That was the game that Dak Prescott, famously forgot to hand the ball to the referee and the clock ran out. But you go back to that same season, the Cincinnati game where they had him on the ropes and Cincinnati comes back. There are other games you just think like, why do they keep doing these things? Why don't you just hit the field goal and put the other team out of its misery? But I think that goes to the next point, John, is, CMC, McCaffrey getting a really high number of snaps. And, Shanahan was asked about that after the Pittsburgh game. And his comment was in regard to the Detroit Lions matchup of it was the opening game of the 2021 season where Niners were up. I don't remember the score, but it was something like 38-7. Lions came racing back, made it a game. The Niners had to put their starters in. That has, in my opinion, impacted Kyle Shanahan's way of closing a game because Pittsburgh game, we kept saying, when is Elijah going to come in? When is Jordan Mason coming in? Why is CMC still in this game? And so I think that has really impacted Kyle Shanahan's mindset at the end of these games. And so I don't know if he's panicking. I don't think he's panicking, but I think he's overly tense. Maybe that's the way to put it. When he doesn't take CMC out at definitely a win against Pittsburgh. The Rams, I can see it a little bit more because it was such a close contest. But, there were obviously going to be other games where the 49ers may be ahead by 10, maybe ahead by 13. And this is actually a place where I'd like to see a guy like Jordan Mason come in, who's like your relief pitcher, and can close him out because he's fresh. He's a tough, hard to tackle back, and he can wear out an already fatigued defense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was surprised because I think he played like 60 snaps, which is a lot.
I do have it. He played 57.
Yeah, it's a lot. On the short week, I really would be surprised if he plays as much. I think with New York and the short week and a bye, we're going to see a lot more split time between the three running backs. But we'll see. Again, that's always a little bit because he is such a Swiss Army knife and he's so good.
Yeah.
That it's like, man, don't run the Ferrari into the ground, dude.
Right. Right.
Let it rest every now and again. Let it cool down.
You're just grinding metal.
Yeah, exactly. And then we've already talked about it, but we missed a few long passes that could have broken up the game, but those are all correctable. There wasn't anything that just really stood out. And again, one knock on wood, the Niners in terms of injuries have been fairly limited so far. I would not expect Ayuk this week. I think with the mini bye coming up, they're going to rest his shoulder.
Yeah.
Well, you never know.
No, you never know. I just saw, and I know we're going to get to the Giants game here in a bit, but I wanted to go back to your star of the game, Isaiah Oliver. I wanted to make a comment earlier because of what a significant play that was. As you said, I mean, Stafford, he hit Kyron Williams right in the hands. The ball bounced up, but Isaiah Oliver made a one-handed interception. And that was, not only was that a great play by him, but, the game at the time was still tied at 17. The Rams, Rams had gone 3 and out on their opening drive. The Rams were in a position to take the lead and really put the pressure on the 49ers. So that play by Oliver was the turning point of the game. The Niners ended up getting a field goal out of that. But that was a huge momentum swing because in the Rams' next possession, they go 3 and out. Fred Warner gets a sack, and then Niners followed up with a touchdown drive in which Deebo Samuel scored. So I wanted to give a little bit more of a shout out to Isaiah Oliver because that was the turning point of the game.
Cool. Any final thoughts on the Rams, or else we're going to move on to other fun and exciting topics?
We're going to have to play these guys again. We're gonna have to play these guys
Yeah,
again.
and
They'll have Cup.
exactly. It's going to be a game. I think it'll be a little bit like when we faced them in the year they came off the Super Bowl. They lost. Was that
Yeah.
2019?
2019, yeah, they went to the Super Bowl in
Yeah.
2018. They still had Jared
Yeah.
Goff.
So I think they're going
Oh.
to be a decent team. Offensive line looks solid. They,
Yeah.
they give Stafford time, and they got young guys who bought into McVay's system, and
Yep.
that's going to get you there. So
Absolutely.
anyway,
there's one more thing. And this is where, we're going to be a little bit, snarky about the Rams game. The 49ers' last regular season loss to Los Angeles was in 2018. I just want to put this in perspective. The Rams were still playing in the Coliseum. SoFi was not yet completed. And Brock Purdy was a freshman at Iowa State. And COVID wasn't even a thing. So
it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And the streak has continued. But anyway, I think we've talked the Rams game. Let's move on.
So we'll go on to my betting results of
All right.
week 2.
I know where this was going.
So I was 1-3. The only one that I won was the Bucks over the Bears. And thankfully, Justin Fields, even though I really like Justin Fields, threw a pick
I
that
saw
sealed the
that.
game. The Seahawks, the Detroit had the Seahawks number, and the Seahawks got lucky with a Jared Goff pick 6 because they were coming back, and that should have been Detroit's game. And then the Chargers. I don't. How does this guy have a job?
I don't know.
Staley, why do you play man? Why do you play man defense when you're just getting beat like all over the place? He's supposed to be the defensive guy on the team. So I gotta think about ever betting on the Rams or the.
I have this
Chargers
vision
again.
of you. It's like that scene in Wayne's World where Wayne's holding Garth. He's going, "Why, God? Why?"
Yeah, exactly.
I'm picturing you doing that.
Yeah, and then in my survivor pool, I had the Cowboys beating the Jets, which was I felt kind of bad for Zach Wilson being chased around by Micah Parsons, but yeah, he did. I do have to give one shout out. Micah Parsons,
Yeah,
is the defensive player of the year right now.
through 2 weeks, absolutely, no argument from me.
He is just playing lights out. You hope that he's gonna have, and the Niners Cowboys game on Sunday Night Football is gonna be a great game.
Yeah,
but going
Games
to
before-
this,
we have
week-
games before that. We have 2 games before that.
So I've survived. I'm keeping things going. This week, on my bets, I am looking at the Titans +3 over the Browns. And the reason for this simply is because Nick Chubb going down like he did last night. Short week. Deshaun Watson just does not look like Deshaun Watson from the Texans.
No.
The Browns they have an awesome defense with Myles Garrett, but their offense doesn't look like it's gelling. And the Titans with Derrick Henry can grind that game down and win. I've got the Lions -3 over Atlanta. Atlanta's 2-0.
Yeah.
But they haven't really beat anybody yet. I mean, I think they beat the Panthers and they came back against somebody. The Packers. That's right.
Yes.
But the Lions just look way better. They've got that offense. Jared Goff's doing a great job. And I think the defense is going to get after that rookie quarterback. The Raiders -2 over the Steelers. I'm picking the Raiders. The Steelers offense just does not look in
No.
sync.
Yeah.
However, Jimmy Garoppolo better watch for TJ Watt, because if Micah Parsons is the defensive player of the year, TJ Watt is not far behind him.
No, he is not. And Jimmy did not have a great outing against the Bills on Sunday.
No, he didn't. But I just think the Steelers offense just does not look good.
No, not through 2 games. It doesn't.
Other than that, I got the Eagles -5 over Tampa. I think Baker comes back down to earth a bit. Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown get back on track. And then Carolina and Seattle, I'm going to do the under 42.5 because neither team is really scoring any points right now. So that, other than that, I did bet some other games that I didn't mention here. I did bet the Niners, which were 7.5.
And
Sean
yes.
McVay. Everybody's like, oh, he doesn't know the spread. He doesn't know the spread. Motherfucker knew the spread. Come on. Somebody's whispering in his ear. He's like, spread's 7.5. Just go fuck with Niners fans.
I'm gonna stick it to the guy who's sitting in Pennsylvania. That's what he did.
He was sticking it to every Niners fan because all the Niners fans are going to bet on the Niners. 7.5. They're all sitting there in their seat going, oh man, got a Hyundai coming. We're going to go to the bar.
We're going to go to Outback. We're going to go to Applebee's on a date night.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway. So annoying.
John, I will take you to Applebee's.
No, it's fine. Or just, somebody was in his headset going, it was 7.5. You can go fuck them. Fuck them all. If you can't win again, if you can't win, might as well beat the spread.
All right.
So
I won't take it to Applebee's. Take it to Outback.
So unfortunately, Brian has had some technical difficulties and he is not able to do his usual Niners trivia. So this week, since I don't really know as much as some other people on this podcast, I will be providing the questions.
All right.
And Tim, you will provide the answers.
If
you know them.
Fire away.
All right. Here's question 1. This week is against the hated New York Giants for Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. I didn't know they were hated, but that's what Brian has in his notes.
All right.
Question 1. In 2002, the NFC wild card, how many points did the Niners come back to win that game?
Oh, that was the epic comeback, the controversial comeback. I think the 49ers were down 24 points. I think it was 38-14.
Okay. Question 2. How many championships do the New York Giants have, including NFL championships pre-Super Bowl? How much for Big Blue?
Wait, so the question is how many NFL championships, not Super Bowls?
No, how many championships in total?
In
do
total,
the New York Giants have, including the NFL championships.
Wow, we're really digging into the encyclopedia on this. Well, they've got 4 Super Bowls. They won twice against the Patriots. They beat the Bills when Scott Norwood missed the field goal. And then, of course, they beat the Denver Broncos in '86. So there's 4 there. I'm going to go. I think previous to '86, they had not won an NFL championship since 1960. So I'm going to go. Oh boy, and they're one of the original franchises. So I'm going to give them 3. So total of 7.
Okay. Wonder if Pat Summerall or Y.A. Tittle was part of any of those.
Summerall, yes. Tittle, I'm not sure about.
Question 3.
Yes.
Where is the New York Giants' first stadium?
Where?
Yeah, what is the New York Giants' first stadium?
Very first stadium ever that they played in.
That's correct.
I'm going to say the Polo Grounds.
Okay. Question 4. Who is the New York Giants receiving leader of all time?
Of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a tough. I don't think this is right, but I'll throw it out anyway. I'm gonna say Odell Beckham.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I'm wrong.
And the last question.
Yeah.
In the movie Any Given Sunday, Oliver Stone classic.
Yes.
The inches we need are everywhere.
This is one I should get because I've seen that movie like 400 times.
Yeah. I might actually watch it tonight. What was the great Lawrence Taylor's character name? And what does he need to make his bonus at the end of the game.
Oh, wow. Okay. I have to say that these are great questions. I don't feel confident about any of them. So kudos to Brian for really digging deep on these.
Yep.
No. All right. Well, the character's name, I only remember as Sharp.
Okay.
I don't remember his character's name. I think he needed like 1 sack and 2 tackles.
Okay.
Uh,
All righty.
I'll be very curious to see what we come up with here. All
Stay
right.
tuned to see if Tim got all of his questions.
I may
right.
have a goose egg this week. I really think I may have a goose egg, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Let's shift gears into the Giants preview. Short week.
Yep.
Playing home opener, Thursday Night Prime. At least Richard Sherman will be back. And there are
John.
2 players. Yeah.
John, this is the official home opener. The unofficial
Yes.
was last week against the Rams, but please.
But there are 2 players that I will give mass props to that made the 49ers into a legendary organization. And that's Quan Alexander and Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys, without them, the Niners wouldn't be who the Niners are today.
I agree. They set the tone in the locker room and on the practice field from day one in 2019. And I think that's carried over into players like Fred Warner.
Yeah. And George and so on and so forth. So keys to victory. So Daniel Jones had a great week last week. Not so good in the first half.
Awful.
But then he led the New York Giants back against Arizona. They're down 28-0, and they won.
Yeah.
So, and with the hurt Saquon Barkley. So, kudos to Daniel Jones. So, Niners always have trouble with a mobile quarterback, and Daniel Jones got some wheels.
He does. And as you said, I mean, mobile quarterbacks have been a challenge for the 49ers. Where we've seen them be successful is they have to collapse the pocket, and that's relying on your 4-down linemen to not get upfield too fast and be able to, not let Daniel Jones escape and pick up that 10, 12 yards that's going to make a key difference on a 3rd down or escape out and make a play. So, we're going to see, what the Niners bring. I'm willing to bet that Wilkes this week is going to bring a little bit more of a blitz package into this game. I think you'll see more of that. He wants Daniel Jones moving when he doesn't want to move, and hoping he can flush out, into say, someone like a Nick Bosa or someone like a Javon Hargrave getting pressure up the middle. So if Hargrave can really help collapse the pocket, I think that will be a key to the game. And if that is the case, the Niners are going to be successful.
Do you think Fred needs to be the spy?
I don't know if Fred needs to be the spy. He certainly has the capability. I like Fred on blitzes, but I like Dre Greenlaw as a spy more. I think Dre, if he doesn't, if he keeps, and I hate to say this, keep the violence to a minimum, he doesn't try to absolutely destroy Daniel Jones because he's going to get a flag, and we saw him get one against the Rams. I like Dre Greenlaw going after Daniel Jones. I like him a little more.
Yeah.
But
for me,
or maybe I'll throw one out there, Hufanga.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one too. That would be an interesting one. He's got the wheels for it, or at least he's got the foot. He doesn't have the wheels, but he's so good at closing.
Yeah.
So I'll throw out another key to victory, because even though we've mentioned it for the Steelers, we didn't mention it so much for the Rams, is taking care of the football. Right now, the Niners are, I think, +4 in the turnover differential.
They are.
And yeah, I mean, we've got, how many did we get against Pittsburgh?
Well, let's see. Let's see.
We had
Travarius
2,
Ward
I
had
think.
Travarius Ward had the interception in the first quarter. I don't recall off the top of my head how many they've had so far, but obviously 2 against the Rams, at least one against Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're plus, right?
Right.
And at the end of the day, we just have to just take care of the football. And so far, Brock Purdy's done a really good job of that.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. And looks like Brian's technical difficulties have been resolved. So Brian, Do you have any keys for victory for against the Giants? Do you have any keys for victory for against the Giants?
I'm gonna go with putting pressure on Daniel Jones. Obviously, we want to see more of that. Getting some pressure from Drake Jackson and Bosa. That. Mm-hmm.
Hey, John, I have one more key to victory. It's pretty important. If you score more points than the other team.
Yes. We like that.
Never fails.
Very good.
Never fails. I think you can replace Chris Collinsworth.
Thank you. I have your endorsement.
So, have we heard about Ayuk playing or Barkley playing?
Yes. Saquon Barkley is officially out. He has an ankle sprain. He's going to be out the next 3 weeks. So it really is going to be Daniel Jones, who the 49ers, I think, have to corral. If they do that, they'll be successful. Given the 49ers' ability to move against, I think was a pretty good Pittsburgh defense, and I think the way they handle Aaron Donald, I think they should be successful against New York's defense as well. And I think that goes to something else. Like, we were looking for more weapons after week 1. We got it in Debo. In week 3, we're still looking for more weapons. I would love to see Elijah come on the field for a little bit, give CMC a bit of a break. And, we've seen Kittle a little bit and some blocking, but if we can unleash him, let's start spreading the field a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to see also maybe a little more Juwan. To me, it's like, keep putting these other guys on tape, and as you get farther and farther in the season, the defensive coordinator's like shit, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who we're gonna cover.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, with Ayuk, he did have, the X-rays came back negative. I think it's just going to be, at this point, the Niners have to make a decision on, yes, I think he can probably physically play. It's, how is he going to tolerate the pain? But football is a long season. We're going to be in our 3rd game of a 17 game season. If you're the Niners, do you push Ayuk to play, or do you say, hey, take this one off? We're going to have somebody else come in, and because we want to keep you fresh. We want to keep you the long haul here. What do you guys think?
I'm leaning towards not playing him this week because it's a quick week from last Sunday, 2 days ago, to Thursday. So it's only 4 days. I'm up to just giving him a break. We'll get 10 days after this, and then he'll be ready for the October 1 game against the Cardinals. So that's what I'm going to.
I do have to give kudos to him, but what a baller, man. I mean, he looked like he was just not doing so hot, and came out there and kept running routes and catching stuff and blocking downfield. So yeah, I think Niners have a really good chance against the Giants. I think it's going to be a good home opener. We don't do predictions on this show. So we're just going to tune in Thursday night and root away.
Did you guys cover Eli Mitchell? And what was the situation over there? I know he didn't get any carries, he didn't get any touches, but what do you guys?
Shanahan was asked about that in his press conference, and his comment was that he did want to get Elijah into the game, that he did not intend CMC to carry that much of the load. So I think, same thing with Ayuk. You don't want to drive these players into the ground too early in the season. So I'd expect to see I would expect to see Mitchell coming in to this one a little bit more. And, with the receiver situation on Ayuk, if he does take this game off, this is a chance for us to see Bell. All 3 of us were really, impressed with him in preseason. If they're going to move Jennings out to the other wideout, to see Bell in a slot, this is his opportunity to shine, and not only shine in the home opener, but you're trying to make a name for yourself on national television. If we consider Amazon national television, I don't know if that counts or not.
Yeah, I think it's a great point.
Yeah.
So Brian, we'll move on to another subject. Not really. What, Tim?
I was going to say, one thing I also wanted to mention is that, the last time the Niners played the Giants was in MetLife Stadium. Thank God we're not playing them at MetLife Stadium with that turf. They're playing them in Levi's with natural, wonderful, what God intended, grass, which is the way football ought to be played. So in any case, but yeah, that's the last time was 2020. Go ahead.
I actually think that's a key to victory. Playing on grass.
There you go.
So, well, we'll get to one of my least favorite topics, fantasy football.
Oh yeah,
Brian,
did you win this week?
I didn't even. No. Come on, man. I have Zach Wilson on my team. So Brian, how'd you do?
I lost my game against. I was playing against Patrick Mahomes, and the Philly running back DeAndre Swift. So those two alone kind of kicked my butt. I actually also had Nick Chubb, who was my first overall pick, John. So he's gone for the year, and I got so busy on my Sunday morning, I forgot to check my lineup. So I didn't realize that Jones from Green Bay, the running back, Aaron Jones, was not playing. So I forgot it. So I got basically a goose egg from him. So yeah, I lost. So John, how about you?
Where did Joe Burrow go? There's somebody right now. I think it's Joe Schmo. Like what? Where did he go?
He took his paycheck and he created a clone.
Oh my God. I love Joe Burrow, but man, he is not helping right now. I mean, I did okay. Derrick Henry got me some points. The Yahoo, this is why I don't think AI is taking over the world yet. The Yahoo AI engine said for me to start DeAndre Hopkins and bench this other guy who, of course, then went and scored 15 points, and DeAndre Hopkins scored like 3. So
there you go.
So yeah, thanks AI. So yeah, my team, the Crushes, is 0-2, but like the Bengals, we're a slow starter.
I know. It's just John, what you need is Skynet to come in and help you out with your AI. It might also take over the world, but you'll have a winning fantasy team.
Hey, that's all that matters. It's all about me.
Skynet.
So Brian,
yes,
I was fortunate enough to read your questions to Tim.
These were hard.
What?
And
I thought I got him.
So if you could do us the pleasure of reading them, and Tim will give you what answers he had, and then we can find out how we did this week.
All right,
or how Tim did this week.
Yeah,
how Tim did. All right. Question number 1, 2002 NFC wildcard.
Yeah.
How many points did the Niners come back to win that game? And which Niners pulled down that Giants quote unquote eligible receiver?
Oh, wow. I want to say the Niners came down from. I would say they were down 24 at one point. Lord, I am trying to remember. I want to say it was like a defensive end, like Chike Okafor. I'll throw that one out. I don't think I'm right, but go ahead.
Man, the brain works again. It was 25 points.
What? Oh my God! Okay, well I was one off. All right,
and it was Chike Okafor.
Are you kidding me?
He pulled down Rich. Was it Rich Stubert? I think that's how you pronounce his name. But Rich.
I don't remember the guy's name. I think I just remember seeing 91 out there. I knew it was that guy. It was Okafor. All right, moving forward. All right,
hey, that counts.
Cool.
Give it to you.
All right. What's the second question?
Number 2. How many championships do the New York Giants have, including their championships pre-Super Bowl?
Okay, 4 Super Bowls, and I said 3 NFL titles, so 7.
They have 4 NFL championships and 4 Super Bowls, so 8 total.
Ooh,
so
all right.
Close.
All right.
27,
Close.
34, 38, and 56. And the
All
Super Bowl era, you got them 86, 90, 07, and 11.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, what is the New York Giants' first stadium?
I said Polo Grounds.
Correct. Yes, home of the beloved New York Giants baseball team, which is now our baseball team, the San Francisco Giants.
San Francisco Giants, yeah.
Who better friggin' win tonight? Like, can you win? Like, you got a 2-game series against the Diamondbacks to put you back in the wild card.
This title of this podcast is Niners Talk. I just want to bring us all back to the point of this podcast.
We're wrapping up baseball season.
I can't see John, but I'm pretty sure I know what expression he's giving me right now.
The bird?
No, rolling my eyes.
If
Yes.
you know if it happened to be that the Warriors were playing in the NBA championship, I'm sure we would have said something. Yeah,
I know. We all know each other well enough that we give each other grief. Like, why you guys like to check my stress level during 49ers games because you think it's funny.
Did you check it last week?
Of course I did. It was off the charts.
That was a win.
I know.
All right.
Anyway.
Number 4 is who is the New York Giants receiving leader of all time?
I took a shot in the dark. I said Odell Beckham. I don't think I'm right.
Armani Toomer from De La Salle.
Oh, yeah. De La
96
Salle.
to 08, 668 receptions, 9,497 yards, 54 scores, 54 touchdowns.
Did he go to Cal? I can't remember. Or no, he went to Michigan. I think he went to Michigan.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do remember being at De La Salle.
Okay. My last one is the movie Any Given Sunday, the Oliver Stone classic released in 1999.
Yeah.
What was the great New York Giants linebacker Lawrence Taylor's character name, and what was his issue in the movie?
What was his issue?
Yep.
I thought it was something different. So I thought his character's name was Shark. I don't remember what his actual character's name was, but he was Shark. I thought it was the question was, and I'll try to answer it, is how much he needed to get his bonus, which I said was 1 sack and 1 and 2 tackles.
Okay. Okay.
But his issue, I think, was concussion. I think maybe a precursor to CTE.
You are very close to that. So it was Luther Shark Levi. So I'll give you that.
All right.
He had a cortisone addiction, and I'm sure he had CTE because he was nuts in that movie. He needed 1 sack and 3 tackles to make his $1 million bonus during the last game, which he did. But as you remember, he was put on a stretcher and had to leave the game. So there you go. That's it. So Tim, you got. I'll give you the first one.
Thank
Very
you.
close to the second one. You got the third one. Question number 4, Amani Toomer, you didn't get. But I'll give you number 5. So 4 out of 5.
All right.
Good job.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's the toughest so far, Brian. So good job there.
But fair. I think those were all fair.
Yeah.
It's not like, how much change does Odell have in his pocket? So we'll conclude as we always do with stuff we bought on Amazon this week. I went first last time. So Tim, what about you? Anything you bought on Amazon this week?
Fancy Feast.
Is that for you or the cat?
You can take a guess on probably which one it is. There's a hankering for seafood delight. My thoughts on seafood, so I'll let you do the math.
Just Fancy Feast?
Just Fancy Feast, yeah. Because we also went to Costco, and that took care of most other things.
Here's a random question: does Amazon sell booze?
I've never tried.
No, you make me want to look that up. I don't know.
All right.
Brian, what did you buy on Amazon this week?
One of those, what are those Raid plug-in lights that's supposed to attract fruit flies in your house?
And
Yeah.
hopefully.
They have it's like a blue light. So I have one. I have one that's plugged in for outdoors. But this is it hasn't arrived yet. But it's something you can just plug into your wall, and I guess it'll attract the blue light, and then you clean out the filter once every whatever so often. But I ordered some of those, and hopefully it'll arrive soon.
Cool.
So
John,
you have a fruit fly problem now?
Well, I live on a hillside, and so there's just a lot of bugs flying around everywhere. But I know right now it's getting cooler. So
do fruit flies not go over the hill?
It's just this area's got a lot of mosquitoes flying around outside. So
Gotcha. Yeah, so I bought, this is one of those things that I'm really glad Amazon exists. 2 replacement flip lids for stainless steel coffee mugs. So I'm sure, like you guys, we just have a random assortment of stainless steel coffee mugs that we've gotten from various things over the years.
Actually, no.
I've gone to. Really? Oh, I got like
No.
7 of them.
I must be on the anomaly in that
how
front.
How can you not have one from working at Microsoft and from Amazon?
Because I take my coffee in the kitchen and drink it at home, not taking it into the car. I just think that's wrong.
But don't they just give you
wrong?
Like here's your employee of the month coffee crevasse?
No, because we're better companies than that.
Oh, whatever.
We do things a little bit differently. Our perks aren't coffee mugs.
Do you guys use paper cups in your building?
We do not, because those are not sustainable. We actually have ceramic mugs.
There you go. We switched too.
Yeah.
Well, I work from home and I have a ceramic mug. There you go.
All
Dave,
right.
let me ask you guys something. Do you guys drink out of certain coffee mugs on game days?
No.
No.
Okay.
We are really getting into the weeds on this.
I drink out of a certain coffee mug because it fits my mouth perfectly.
There you go.
That's all you need.
Hey, John, one more thing.
Yeah, can't wait.
John, to answer your question, you can look up drinks or alcohol on Amazon, but it's via Whole Foods, since they own Whole Foods.
Okay. There you go.
All right.
Anyway, we lost the top of the mugs. So on Amazon, we bought 2 replacement flip lids for coffee mugs. So we're not just throwing out a perfectly usable stainless steel mug. We've now got a new lid for it. So,
yep. Good job.
Yeah. So, well, that's it for Niners Talk. I'm, as always, John, joined by my brother Tim, my brother from another family, something that I keep messing up, Brian. This week we're facing the Giants. We'll be back next week with our review of the Giants game and our preview of the Cardinals game. And then the Cowboys.
One game at a time.
That's true. Peace out, Niners Nation. Go Niners. Let's look for another victory Tuesday next week.